Hi everyone, and welcome to another week of Rach and Fee. Hi Fee.
Hi everyone.
Okay, so this is a really interesting topic that we have today. We've had a listener pose a question for us, which is great for us to have something to respond to. And the question is, why do we wait until we get sick, menopause, unfit, etc., and then want to change our lives? Okay. And how can we prevent the next downfall? So it's about, how can we make the next decade different? And that is such a huge question, and one that we were like, oh my gosh, we definitely want to have a chat about this one. So, Fee, did you want to start it off, or did you want me to?
You know what? I'm happy for you to start it off today.
Okay. So when all of these, big moments happen, it may not be just that we, get sick or, go through menopause or are unfit, but maybe it's things like we have a car accident, we lose our job, we end a relationship, and then we look around at our current state of life and then go, this is not what I wanted. I'm not okay with my life looking like this anymore. And this is what you would call a spiritual awakening. And what that is you're becoming conscious of the life that you have created. And because it's not what you thought you would have, it's that you've created this life unconsciously. Okay.
Oh, that's exactly what I said. Was just about to say, like, because you've been living so unconsciously, so in the past or in the future, but you on that constant little hamster wheel where you're just busy, 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 going, 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 going. There's not even that time to have those moments and that break to go, is this really what I want? Is
Mm,
this the life I want to create? And sometimes, and I always think the universe talks to us like very softly, Rach. It's like a little
mm.
whisper or lots of synchronicities. And then if we don't listen, then it will give us a bit more of a nudge or a kick. But when we really need to be shaken up, that's where we have these like huge life events, like which are quite shocking, crises, and where we don't have any other choice but to wake up and really take note of where we're at and is this where we want to go moving forward.
Oh, and that is exactly what's happening. So, you get to that big milestone in your life, like yeah, it's a T intersection. It's like, you have to choose one way. You either go that way or you go that way. And you have to make a conscious choice. So in doing so, it feels overwhelming. We usually, when we get to that stage of that spiritual awakening and going, no, this is not the life I signed up for, this is not what I want it to look like moving forward, but I don't know what I want. Okay. Quite often we start with, we know what we don't want, but we're not really sure what it is we're working towards. We can't see past where we are right now. And it's overwhelming
Yeah.
almost.
And I just want to add in there too, Rach. I feel like there can be this little period between not knowing what it's going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can be having this little bit of a grief about the life we thought we were leading, or
Yeah.
possibly the grief that we've lived a life that hasn't been authentic or true to us for such a long period of time. So there's this little bit of a transition period. And exactly what you said, it's like, I don't know what it looks like, but I know what it doesn't look like.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. And
mm,
usually we've lived the life we don't want anymore. We've lived that. We don't want that. So it's like, I'm not really sure what other options are out there because you haven't experienced those before. But it's what it is about, consciously going, all right, you may need to outsource some help. And this was we had a little chat prior to this, pushing record, and it was like, this is where you need your support system. And we've all heard about, having, the top five people that you associate with, they're the energy of the people you're bringing into your life. Now, if they're not really aligned with who you are or who you want to become, then you may need to get yourself a new support system, different people, ones who will, help you grow and create the life that you really do want.
And people that are going to call you out on your BS a little bit as well, right? True friends don't just go, pat you on the back, you're great, you're doing great. It's the ones that are like, remember your values, remember where you're at. Come on, let's bring it back down and let's get focused again.
Yeah.
It's those moments with friendships too, which is so important. And I just wanted to add there too, Rach, when you wake up and you go, that's not what I want, it doesn't necessarily mean that was a bad life. It just might mean that's just maybe not quite in alignment with who you really are, or it's out of balance, or
I was going to say you've outgrown that version of you.
Yes.
Yeah. It's time for, that wardrobe overhaul type of thing, and that wardrobe is your life. So, you know what? Fashions change, things change, your needs change, and we do all that stuff on the outside, the superficial stuff, but we don't always take that same approach to, the internal side of things. So we just need to, shake that up, do things a little bit differently. So now that whatever that moment in time was for you, so that's your consciousness, that's you coming awake, you're now.
That's the universe slapping you around.
That's right. The universe is like,
we've got other ideas for you. Yeah.
I'm not waiting. So that's your wake up call. Okay. And that shocked you into going, okay, I want to do things differently. So what happens is people usually try and do this huge leap or climb that huge mountain, and it's just way too big of a task because, you haven't conditioned yourself to make the trek and the rest of it. So you then give up, and it's very easy then to fall back into those unconscious behaviors. Okay.
I just got the vision of a pole jumper, Rach, running with the pole.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it can feel like. You've got to get over this huge hurdle. It just popped in my head, so I thought I'd share that.
Awesome. So, but what you need to do is you need to make little changes, little ones that are achievable in your day-to-day life. So what sort of example will we give here, Fee?
I think, getting up and just going, I'm going to do a 10-minute meditation just to really get conscious of my thoughts and start to become more aware of our thoughts, to challenge our old belief systems. It could be I'm going to do 10 minutes exercise if it's health, or I'm going to choose who I want to spend my time with. But you know what? Even though they're little, they can be quite uncomfortable, Rach, or there can be a lot of resistance. Like, why would we resist doing 10 minutes of exercise every day? So it is really going, you know what? Even though my mind is talking me out of it, effort, I'm doing it anyway. So like really committing. And you'd really have to commit for, I think, what is it, about 3 months before we start to see changes in our patterns. So, it's like little tiny steps, but consistently over a period of time.
Yeah. And you want to make them achievable too, because if you make it too hard, you're going to give up. You aren't going to integrate those changes into your everyday life if they're too hard. But if you make them simple, it could be a matter of saying a positive affirmation. If you are, prone to negative self-talk, it's like, okay, whenever I brush my teeth, I'm going to say, loving things to myself the whole time. They say we need to brush our teeth for 2 minutes. So for 2 minutes, I'm just going to put out there, really loving thoughts and words towards myself. Because we brush our teeth, twice a day.
And we're looking at ourselves in the mirror too, Rach. That's very powerful. And you know what? If you don't want to meditate, grab a cup of tea or coffee and just go and sit out with no phones, no one else, and just contemplate. Like, just go out and sit outside and watch the trees for 5 minutes. As you said, like, it doesn't have to be, make it simple. Like, it has to be simple and enjoyable and something that, for me, there's no point me thinking I'm going to do something that's completely uncomfortable, because I'm just not going to stick to it. But yeah,
well, I from my
what's right for you.
Yeah, so from my personal experience, my big wake up call was when, I left my marriage, and that's over a decade ago now. But when I left my marriage, and I felt really liberated because I then had control of my own everything. I could do what I wanted to do, I could be who I wanted to be. But I was so disconnected from who I was that I didn't know what that looked like. Okay. So I understand that uncomfortable feeling of going, I don't want to go back to how it was. I have the opportunity to do things completely different, but I don't know what that looks like. And can I really trust myself to make decisions, because up until now, my track record doesn't look great. Okay. So that's when you can either really delve into understanding how you operated as a person. So that's going to help you then work with your strengths instead of, trying to do it like someone else and then failing and then beating yourself up.
That's a sure way to fail. If you think, oh, look, Rach has done it like this, I'm going to follow Rach's footsteps. No, no, no. You have to do it your way. And another thing that just popped in for me, Rach, is like following the breadcrumbs, like following all the synchronicities and the little signs that you see. Don't ignore those, because they're the universal, they're your oracles. They're the things that are showing up in your life to give you a little bit of a nudge or a direction. So you don't have to have the massive thing happen again.
And the other thing that can be really uncomfortable, but is really, really groundbreaking and necessary, is for you to get in touch with what you really want and ignore the fact about money, relationships, anything that would stop you from wanting a particular life or a goal or whatever. You need to really connect into you and go, okay, what is it that if there was nothing in my way, what would I do? What would I do every day? What would that look like? And really play big, don't play small. It just create this vision of a life that you're like, oh my God, this is just blowing my own damn mind, right? And just create this vision and then go, once you have that vision, how can I then make changes to work towards something like that? Or that particular.
Yeah, I was just thinking reverse engineer that. This is
Yeah.
where I want to get to. What are the steps I need to take? And what are the little initial steps that I can take?
Exactly right. And they use the example of say if you wanted to start your own business, but you were so negative about the fact that you had to go to a paid job and all of that, and you're like, oh, I just hate this job. But look at it like, that paid work is paying you to then, so that you can work on your own stuff at home. Okay. It's giving you money so that you can work towards creating that new that business for yourself.
Mm. And when you change, and I think that's like goes back to gratitude as well. When
Yes.
we can shift that and look at things differently, that's where we can start to enjoy that paid job for what it is. You can
Exactly.
start going there to, because this is this, and be grateful for that paid job because this is what you're achieving from that. So,
and that's what it's bringing to the table. So
mm,
the second part of that question was, how do we, not get caught up in that unconscious behavior? How do we then, not come back to the same position again in another 10 years? Okay. And that's about, like we said, it's your having people around you who hold you accountable and want to see you succeed in something. And it's also about staying conscious and recalibrating your goals. Okay. So your starting points here, and you created this big vision of what you wanted to do, be, and have. And then, you're partway along that journey, you've made these subtle changes, like you're working towards something, and then you're like, we always need to check in to see if that's really what we do want. Okay, so it's recalibrating. So if what we thought we wanted isn't really what we want anymore, then we can change. We don't have to stick with that just because we decided that's what we're going to have. We can then decide to make a little, change in a different direction. Because imagine if you were planning a wedding, right? and you had ordered some, say certain wine glasses to be delivered, and for some reason, those wine glasses couldn't get delivered on the day for the wedding, and you know what? You had to improvise and use something else. Okay. Well, once the wedding is over, the day after, those wine glasses are going to be so insignificant. They're not going to be what you want. They're not going to be a priority, and they're not going to be what you focus your energy on anymore. So you have to then work out what in your goal is that wine glass. What no longer serves you.
And we're constantly leveling up, and we're here at the moment with our awareness. But I think another thing just to touch off there too, Rach, is when we do have the awakening, we do the work, we do get to this level, that there is this fear that we will slip back to that unconscious living.
Yeah.
And that's been a bit of a fear of mine. But how I work with that is like really consciously being aware of almost being like the outside observer of yourself. But also too knowing that, and I heard this in a podcast just last week, and it was like music to my ears, and I went, oh, there's that sign I was looking for.
Yeah.
It was like, once we have leveled up and we've opened our hearts to a certain level, we never go back. It's just we continue to open up and move forward. So it is a process, and we're never going to be staying in the same spot. So as Rach just was talking about, like, we're always going to be evolving and changing and growing. So, and that's what we're here in this life to do.
It is. And to experience it and to feel the feels. So, we're here as a human to actually feel the emotions and the experiences and everything else. So that's what it's like. That's part of what being a human is. But we want to be able to, create the vision we want. Okay. Did you have anything else to say about that?
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything, Rach.
Yeah, I think so too. And this is an invitation for anyone who watches our, Rach and Fee Unplugged episodes regularly. If there's a topic that you'd like to have us discuss, please contact us, and we'd love to, just talk about things that are relevant to you. So, Fee, do you have your cards?
I did. I just picked one out really quickly. Like, what do you want? What do you want? This is it. Did we do this one again? And we had this one. So this is like, she is doing her thing. She's sitting in the seat of her power. She has the magic in her hand, and she is doing life her way. So I think it's that beautiful reminder just that the power is within us, that we really need to like be comfortable to let our feet fly and just be ourselves and not be afraid to step out of conformity, perhaps, because she certainly doesn't conform to anything. So
no, she doesn't, and that's
follow your light.
Yeah, and look at the light all around her. Look at the candles. Are they candles?
Yeah, because it's fire. It's fire.
Yeah.
So it's passion. It's fire. It's she's following whatever lights you up. That's the direction you need to go in. You want to know what that wine glass is? It's whatever lights you up. So
beautiful. And what was the bottom card? Just curious. Yeah.
Ooh, the Knight of Swords. So it's intellect. It's really fast moving. It's fire and air. So this is like, once you make the decision, like, there's nothing stopping you. It's all go ahead, and there's all the support that you have around you, that once you are aligned, things will just move very, very quickly in the direction that it needs to go. So not to be afraid that there's so much support there, and you have what you need when it's aligned. So
and it's an action card, obviously, because look, he's on the move, he's running, he's on a mission there.
Yeah, we've got the wisdom. He's got his motorbike here. He's got what he needs. He's not going to travel on his own, but it's like, boom. Yeah. The moment you make that decision, it's all actions go.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Right.
Oh, Well, I hope everyone has enjoyed our little question response today, because we have definitely enjoyed it. And if, like I said, if anyone has anything that they'd like us to chat about, please contact us, and yeah, we'd love to.
The one thing we love to do is chat, isn't it, Rach?
Definitely. It definitely is. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in again, and we'll see you next time.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.